everyone, and welcome to episode 61 of the Knitty Heather podcast. My name is Heather and I'm coming to you from Kent, Washington, up here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, where it's kind of a gloomy, cloudy, rainy day. We had a nice week of really hot weather actually, which is unusual for us, and now we're kind of back to our more typical June gloom, but it's okay, we kind of need the rain. So I'll appreciate it, and then I'll appreciate when we get sun again even more. This is my podcast where I talk about all of the knitting and crochet I work on. I love to share my projects and all about any wonderful makers, yarn dyers, pattern designers, or makers of other accessories. If you are a new viewer, welcome. I am so happy you found me and I hope you enjoy yourself. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I am so happy you decided to join me again. It really means a lot. If you would like to follow me, I am at Knitty Heather on Instagram, and I would love to see what you are working on and see all your progress pictures of your projects. All of the yarn and patterns and accessories I talk about will be listed and linked in the description box below. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd, 2023, and I have a lot to tell you about, so let's get started. I had to kind of go way back and think about what I am wearing today, but I do believe it is the Fibonacci Mobius by Sarah Jane Bench. I knit this out of Cascade Yarns Casablanca, which I do believe is discontinued, but there's a lot available on Ravelry and D stashes. And I believe this colorway is Forest. I think I wore my other Fibonacci Mobius in episode 30, I was looking back, and that was in kind of a purple and teal colorway of the same yarn. This is out of that same Casablanca yarn. I do believe it is the colorway Forest, but I did not actually include the Mobius twist. I believe I just knit this one straight in the round with the different knit and purl rounds as the pattern called for. So it's just a straight round cowl. I do love the length and width. I haven't worn this in a long time, and so as I was going through some of my knits, it was kind of fun to find this, and I thought, oh, I should wear this for my next podcast. So this is a very easy, you could do this with any weight yarn, cast on whatever number stitches you wanted. It's just different combinations of knits and purls. If you want to do the Mobius cast on, great. If you don't, it works out and looks just fine. I would say it's a cool pattern to do with like a slowly striping yarn. This isn't exactly self-striping, but it does gradually change colors. This is the Fibonacci Mobius by Sarah Jane Bench, knit up in Cascade Yarns Casablanca. Next, I'd like to tell you about some acquisitions. These are already about a year old. I mentioned a few podcasts ago that I do want to go through everything that I've acquired in this last year. I've just been kind of slow to get more yarn and talk about the yarn I have. So these two skeins I'm about to show you, I did purchase almost to the date a year ago, when I met my friend Helen Jo at Acorn Street Shop in Seattle by the U District, and I got two beautiful skeins of DK yarn. I still love it very much, and I intend to make some DK socks with them. It is Wedgwood fibers, and it is an 85-15 DK base, 85 superwash merino, 15% nylon. This colorway is called Tuesday, and I think this will knit up very beautifully. Here's the Wedgwood Fibers label out of Seattle. And this other colorway I got is also beautiful. It is called Lab. And I just thought these will make some beautiful, comfy DK socks. I don't know if I will knit them for myself, but I know a lot of people that would also like these colorways, so I'll have to think about who I want to knit them for, but they will become DK socks someday, especially since they have nylon. I was very excited to find a wool nylon blend in DK weight, which I know is becoming a little bit more common, but I was very pleased to pick up these two treasures at Acorn Street Shop in Seattle. Check out Wedgwood Fibers and Acorn Street Shop. I'll have them linked below. Speaking speaking of DK socks, that leads me to my one and only finished object for this episode. It is my latest pair of DK socks. Here they are. This was in the colorway Magic Potion by Crystal Skies Hand Dyed. It was part of her Witches and Wizards Harry Potter inspired club that she did last year. Well, she's been doing it a couple years, but I believe I got this skein last year. This is on her Ragdoll Sock 7525 fingering base, but I held the yarn double to get a DK weight. I followed the DK weight vanilla sock pattern by Kay Litton, the Crazy Sock Lady. I did 10 rounds of 2x2 rib for the cuff, 30 rounds down the leg. I decreased the gusset stitches and did the slip stitch heel flap as written in the pattern, and I did about 35 more rounds down the foot before I did the rounded toe that she calls for in the pattern. I think these knit up very beautifully. You wouldn't be able to tell that they were held double. It just looks very, very nice, and I'm excited to have a new cozy pair of DK socks to wear when I sleep. This is the DK weight vanilla sock pattern by Kay Litton, the Crazy Sock Lady, knit up in Magic Potion by Crystal Skies Hand Dyed on Etsy in the colorway Magic Potion. Now on to my works in progress. First, I'd like to tell you about my June socks for the Desert Vista Dye Works monthly sock club. I have it in my sock monkey bag with my Desert Vista Dye Works buttons from the last couple years. This bag is from MLD Threads on Etsy, and it's already a half finished object. This is my first sock completed. The colorway I am knitting this month is called Jellyfish, and I used this kind of orange and red mini. It was a 5-gram mini from her 2020 prize package that I used for the toe. The pattern I'm doing is called Frontage Road Socks by Sierra of All Knit Up Designs. It's a very simple knit and purl stitch pattern that I am knitting up across the front of the sock. I am keeping the back just plain stockinette. And here is the progress I have so far on my second sock. Here's a little better look at the stitch pattern. I love these stripes. This colorway is a little out there for me. These aren't totally my colors, but I love them. I think they look really neat. This S'mores Progress Keeper that I'm using is from Pitter Patter Polymer. I am using my Addi Flexi Flips flexible DP ends for this pair of socks, and I am enjoying using those. I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel on both of these, and I am not paying attention to trying to make the stripes match up in either the mini for the toes or the main color. I am just knitting right from the skein where it ended, and here is what it looks like in the cake. Again, this colorway is Jellyfish by Desert Vista Dye Works. And I am so close to being done. I have about 20 more rounds up the leg and then 10 rounds of 2x2 rib for the cuff. I'm doing a little bit of a shorter cuff because there's already quite a bit of ribbing and good stretch with this stitch pattern because of all the knits and purls. So I thought 10 rounds of ribbing is enough for this cuff. And I'm excited to have another pair of Desert Vista Dye Works socks done. After finishing this pair, I will have completed 6 months of her 9th annual monthly sock club, and I will get to choose a free skein of her yarn. So that's very exciting. This mini for the toe, I don't know if you can tell, is on sparkle, so that's pretty fun. And I'm really excited to have these off the needles very shortly. I'm already super excited about the colorway I have chosen for my July socks, but you'll have to wait till next episode to see that. This is the Frontage Road Socks by Sierra of All Knit Up Designs, knit up in Jellyfish by Desert Vista Dye Works, along with the little mini from her 2020 prize pack for the toes. Next, I'd like to show you my second pair of socks I am working on. It is also a half finished object. Here is the first sock. This is just a vanilla sock with a fish lips kiss heel. I did these toe up with a wedge toe, about 50 rounds up the foot, my fish lips kiss heel, 50 more rounds up the leg, and 16 rounds of 2x2 ribbing for the cuff. This is Knit Picks Hawthorn in the colorway Happy Valley. I absolutely love it. I actually made myself a little clapotee modified shawl that I seamed into a cowl using this yarn. It's absolutely beautiful. I have this project in my Stitching Plaza bag from Sock Week last year in 2022. It says just chillin'. This cute fish scale fabric on the top and these cute little sharks. I really love this bag. It's a beautiful drawstring, perfect for socks. Here is the progress I have so far on my second sock. I have done the toe and about 10 rounds up the foot. This strawberry and cream ice cream progress keeper is from Sweet Cherry on Etsy. I'm doing these on magic loop with a ChiaoGoo red lace 32-inch fixed circular needle. Here's what the yarn looks like in the cake. I just love this colorway. And Hawthorn is such a nice sock yarn. It is an 80-20 base, and it's the perfect combination, in my opinion, of soft and rustic, meaning that it will be good workhorse sock yarn that it will wear very nicely. It's a great option, especially if you are just getting into sock knitting. So I have quite a few more rounds up the foot to finish my heel, and then I will continue up the leg. I cannot wait to start wearing these because I love this yarn and the color so much. This pair will be for me, and I'm excited to keep working on it. This is a pair of vanilla socks, knit toe up with a fish lips kiss heel, knit up in Knit Picks Hawthorn in the colorway Happy Valley. My last pair of socks I have to show you is another pair of vanilla socks. I have this pair going in my Summer Sock Camp 2021 bag from Stolen Minutes on Etsy. And then I do have the pin from the Crazy Sock Ladies shop that year that matches that logo. And here it is. This is also a half finished object. Here's my first sock complete. This is Knitted Wit Victory Sock 80-20 base in the colorway Team USA. I am following the vanilla socks on 9-inch circulars by Kay Litton, the Crazy Sock Lady. I did 20 rounds of a 2x2 rib, 50 rounds down the leg. I did the slip stitch heel flap and gusset, which I think looks really cool in this yarn. Closed up the gusset, and then about 35 more rounds down the foot before I did her rounded toe. I have completed the cuff on my second sock, and I'm about 10 rounds down the leg so far. This Rocket Pop Progress Keeper is from one of the Yarnable boxes from a year or so ago. I'm not sure exactly who the maker was. I am using ChiaoGoo red lace 9-inch circulars, and they're going along very, very well. I love how this yarn is kind of spiraling. I think that looks really cool, and I'm hoping to have these done just in time for the 4th of July to be able to wear and enjoy. Here's what the yarn looks like in the cake. I'm already thinking, since it's called Team USA, that these will be good to wear next summer for the Olympics as well. This is a pair of vanilla socks on 9-inch circulars by Kay Litton, the Crazy Sock Lady, knit up in Knitted Wit Victory Sock in the colorway Team USA. Next, I'd like to tell you about a cowl I am working on that I haven't picked up for a while, but I just picked it up yesterday and can't stop working on it. So I thought I would show you the progress I have made on it. This is my Winter Skies kind of doodle cowl. The designer is Jamie Lomax. She did all these different motifs, who is Pacific Knit Co. And this pattern was purchased as an advent with the yarn from West Coast Yarn Co. on their DK base, which is so soft and luscious. I absolutely love it. Like I said, this has been sitting for a while. This is where I was last time, this kind of snowflake marker showing this snowflake at the beginning of this snowflake motif is where I left off last time. So I finished that and I did just this tiny little sort of zigzaggy triangle motif, depending on how you look at it. And I'm currently working on a kind of buffalo plaid motif with these two colors. This is twine and this is treetop. And they're going to contrast really nicely in a pretty cool checkered buffalo plaid. I only have a few more motifs that I am planning to do, including one really big snowflake left. And then I'm going to seam this up in kind of a loop style cowl. This is so much fun. I love color work. It is just traditional stranded color work following the charts that she provides in the pattern. The fun thing about these doodle patterns is that you can do the charts in whatever order with whatever colors you want, whatever suits your fancy. Let me see if I can just kind of show you all the different beautiful motifs. I love this little coffee cup one, it's very fun. So I am really hoping to have this done next time I show it on the podcast. I really hope and plan that it will be a finished object. I started this with the provisional cast on, and then I already did put a cord in from one of my needle sets. So I just need to put the tips on, and then I will Kitchener it together to seam it in one big loop. I cannot wait. I probably won't really wear it very much until the winter, and it's definitely more wintry colors and a wintry design, but I just really thought that it would be fun to show, and since I've been really kind of motivated to finish it now that I have a vision for the last few motifs I'm going to do, I thought I would share it and wish me luck that everything will work out and that I will be able to finish it next time. This is the Winter Skies Cowl by Jamie Lomax, Pacific Knit Co., knit up in DK yarn from West Coast Yarn Co. My last two works in progress are both baby blankets. I'd like to show you the progress I have made on these so far since last time we podcasted. The first one is for my nephew. This is the Garter Chevron blanket by Mina Phillip, the Knitting Expat. And you can see the chevron shape taking place. This sheep progress keeper from Bump on a Hill on Etsy is where I was last time I showed it. So I've almost doubled my progress, I would say. The yarn I'm using for this blanket is Knit Picks Comfy Worsted, and this colorway is Honey. I have 5 colors I am planning to stripe. The next one I am planning to incorporate is called Pea Pod, and this is how much I have left of my second ball of the honey yarn. I'm going to try to use 100 grams of each color, and I think that will translate into about 60 rows or 30 garter ridges in each color. So I think I have about 10 more rows or 5 more garter ridges left in this color to do before I switch to the Pea Pod color. I am really enjoying this, and I really hope that my nephew loves it and can grow up treasuring it. The needles I'm using are Addi Turbo Lace size 10. This blanket is living in my Forest Creature Project bag from Bags by Awesome Granny. I am really looking forward to finishing it and gifting it to him when he is born in August. This is the Garter Chevron blanket by Mina Phillip, the Knitting Expat, knit up in Knit Picks Comfy Worsted. My last baby blanket is for my cousin's baby that is also due at the end of August. I have it in my Sloth project bag from Quilt Knit Craft. And I also have this cute little Sloth Progress Keeper that I'm using as a zipper pull. This pattern is called the Encore Worsted Sampler Afghan by Plymouth Yarns Design Studio. And I am also knitting this in Knit Picks Comfy Worsted in the colorway Honeydew. There is a garter border, and then I just finished the second little basket weave section. My progress keeper is this little iced coffee drink from Starbucks Progress Keeper by Bump on a Hill on Etsy. And I've about doubled the progress on this blanket as well. It started with this kind of garter ribbed column and then into a basket weave. And I just finished the two kind of garter ridges that they have you do between each section kind of as a divider, a couple divider rows. This is a sampler blanket, so each section is going to be, I think, about 16 to 18 rows of just a different stitch pattern, and it will all look different and be kind of fun. The colorway I am using is called Honeydew, and I will use this colorway throughout the whole blanket in this case, and just let the different stitch patterns do the talking. I really am excited to start this next section with a different combination of, I think, knits and purls. I haven't looked too far ahead in the pattern, but it will hopefully all come together very nicely, and I hope that this baby treasures this blanket as well. This is the Encore Worsted Sampler Afghan by Plymouth Yarn Design Studio. Knit up in Knit Picks Comfy Worsted. My last work in progress I have to show you is one of my scrappy blankets. I have not showed any of my scrappy projects for a long time, but I have been extra motivated to get lots and lots of squares done in my coziest memory blanket. I haven't made as much progress as I probably should have on my baby blankets because I've really been addicted to knitting the squares on this one. I don't know, I'm just in the mode where I want to be working on this. So last time I showed it, I was at this square, this blue one. So I have finished this row, and then I've done an entire row above that as well. And I'm making this fairly large. I hope I won't regret how wide I'm choosing to make this. I am making it 24 squares wide, and I am doing squares starting with 40 stitches, so a little bit smaller than the pattern calls for. In this second to last row, I was using yarn from my 2020 Knit Style Yarns Advent. I don't think I put them in order. I kind of did mix them up based on color and where it was placed in the blanket, but the whole second to last row is from my Knit Style Yarns Advent from 2020. I have one more of her advents that I need to add into a row. I think that's why I chose to do 24 squares, is so I could put a 24 skein advent in here, leftovers from that. And this most recent row is yarn from the shawls that I frogged probably about 6 months ago now. I'm not sure when I did that. Some of the Desert Vista Dye Works rainbow combinations, and some of the yarn I used with friends for Share a Pair socks as well. So really kind of random, but I did incorporate all of those in this row. And I am so happy with how this is looking. Now I did make one change about halfway through. So I just finished my 6th row, and I made a change about halfway through my 5th row, and that is to slip stitches, as Kay the Crazy Sock Lady noted in her project page for this blanket. And it just makes the stitches a lot easier to pick up. So if you're going to do this blanket, I definitely suggest making that slight modification that Kay puts in her project notes. Basically, you knit the first stitch through the back loop, and slipped the last stitch with the yarn in front. This is such a wonderful blanket. I am trying to use only yarn that I've previously used in a project, and it's only 6 rows so far, but I will continue working on this and loving every minute of it until it is finished. This is The Coziest Memory by Kemper Ray, knit up in all kinds of leftover fingering weight scraps. Well, I think that's about all I have for you this episode. Thank you so much for joining me and spending a little bit of time with me. I truly do appreciate you watching. Please don't forget to give this video a like and consider subscribing. And as always, I welcome any feedback for the podcast. You are welcome to leave a comment below or message me on Instagram. I am at Knitty Heather on Instagram, and I would love to hear from you. But until next time, be well, be kind, and happy making. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.